Imagine a world engulfed in ice, a land where temperatures plunged to deadly lows, and food was a constant struggle. How did fragile, soft-bodied humans not just survive but thrive in an age that should have utterly extinguished them? This is the epic saga of our Ice Age ancestors. They faced unimaginable challenges daily. The Pleistocene epoch stretched across vast millennia. Glaciers scraped across entire continents. They carved valleys and peaks. Icy winds howled relentlessly. They scoured the treeless landscapes. Giant mammoths, with their shaggy coats and enormous tusks, roamed the tundra. Woolly rhinoceroses grazed beside them. Fearsome saber-toothed cats hunted in the shadows. Cave bears hibernated in dark crevices. Food was always scarce. Every calorie was precious. Every hunt was a risk. Shelter was not a luxury. It was a matter of immediate life or death. These were not merely difficult times. They were the ultimate crucible of human ingenuity. Our ancestors were not naturally equipped for such brutal conditions. They lacked the thick, insulating fur of Arctic animals. They possessed no sharp claws for digging or fighting. Their teeth were not designed for tearing through raw, frozen meat. Yet they persevered against all odds. They adapted with astonishing speed. They innovated with unparalleled brilliance. Their physical bodies were soft and vulnerable. Their minds, however, were sharp and incredibly resourceful. For tens of thousands of years, they carved out a precarious existence. They did far more than just exist. They built complex communities. They created breathtaking art. They passed down vital knowledge through generations. They fundamentally transformed the very definition of survival. This video will now uncover their forgotten strategies. We will explore their remarkable technologies. We will peel back the layers of time. We will reveal the profound secrets of how they conquered the brutal Ice Age. Prepare to be utterly amazed by the extraordinary resilience and cleverness of humankind. Survival in the deep cold began with effective shelter. Caves offered the most obvious initial protection. They provided a solid natural roof overhead. They offered immediate refuge from blizzards. They blocked the worst of the biting winds. But caves alone were not enough. They were inherently cold. They were often damp. They needed significant human intervention. Our ancestors were not passive inhabitants. They actively modified their cave homes. They constructed stone walls at cave entrances. These elaborate structures acted as windbreaks. They trapped precious warmth inside. They meticulously cleared the cave floors. They laid down insulating materials. Thick layers of animal hides were used. Dried grasses, mosses, and even ferns created softer, warmer living spaces. Beyond the natural shelter of caves, their engineering skills truly began to shine. Imagine vast, open plains. No natural rock shelters existed there for protection. So, they boldly built their own. Mammoth bone huts stand as incredible monuments to their ingenuity. They utilized the massive skeletal remains of mammoths. Heavy skulls formed sturdy foundations. Gigantic tusks curved gracefully, shaping doorways. Long, robust leg bones stood upright, acting as central support pillars. Interlaced rib cages created a complex dome-like framework. This intricate skeletal structure was then meticulously covered. Large animal hides, often from mammoths or reindeer, were stretched tautly over the bones. Multiple layers of turf, packed moss, and sometimes even clay or mud were added. These provided crucial insulation. These huts were remarkably sturdy. They were surprisingly warm inside. They were spacious enough to house entire families. Some structures could accommodate entire small communities. Constructing a single such hut was a monumental undertaking. It might require the bones of a dozen or more mammoths. Gathering these colossal materials demanded extensive planning. It required immense communal effort. It demonstrated an advanced understanding of structural engineering. These were far from simple tents. They were sophisticated, purpose-built dwellings. They were veritable fortresses against the piercing cold. Some settlements even featured semi-subterranean structures. Shallow pits were dug into the earth. This offered even greater insulation. It provided superior protection against ground-level winds. Other shelters were more temporary by design. They constructed simple lean-tos from branches. They used animal skins to create portable tents. These mobile homes allowed them to follow migrating animal herds. Such mobility was absolutely crucial for successful hunting expeditions. Regardless of the specific form, effective shelter was always paramount. It provided critical safety. It offered life-sustaining warmth. It created a true home in an overwhelmingly hostile world. Our inherent lack of thick natural fur was a profound vulnerability. Without expertly crafted clothing, surviving the Ice Age would have been utterly impossible. Clothing did not just protect, it became our essential second skin. It was not merely draped hides, it was sophisticated. It was tailored. This represented a truly revolutionary innovation in human history. Early humans utilized sharp stone flakes. These precise tools were used to meticulously scrape animal hides clean. This laborious process removed all traces of flesh and fat. It rendered the tough hides incredibly pliable. They then employed specialized bone awls. These pointed tools were perfect for punching neat holes into the prepared leather. Bone needles, sometimes exquisitely fine and carved, were a game changer. These crucial inventions allowed them to sew multiple pieces of hide together. Strong animal sinews, carefully prepared and twisted, served as durable thread. They stitched furs with remarkable precision and skill. They created complex multi-piece garments. This was not simply wrapping a raw hide around their bodies. This was advanced functional tailoring. Imagine a multi-layered clothing system. Inner layers were often made from soft, insulating furs. Fox or rabbit skins provided plush warmth directly against the body. Outer layers were constructed from tougher, more resilient materials. Mammoth hide or robust reindeer skin offered superior protection from the brutal wind and heavy snow. These outer layers were frequently treated for waterproofing. Animal fats and oils, carefully rendered, were vigorously rubbed into the hides. This created a crucial barrier against moisture. Staying dry was absolutely critical for preventing hypothermia. Essential hoods protected the head, ears, and face from frostbite. Mittens and gloves, sometimes lined with extra fur, shielded vulnerable hands. Boots, often extending up to the knees, protected feet and lower legs. These boots were thoroughly insulated. They were lined with layers of fur, grass, or moss for added warmth. Some boots were even carefully sealed with natural resins. This prevented any moisture penetration. These elaborate garments were far more than mere fashion statements. They were highly engineered survival suits. They allowed our ancestors prolonged exposure to extreme cold. They enabled extended hunting trips far from shelter. They facilitated efficient movement across deep, snowy landscapes. Without this meticulously tailored clothing, our ancestors would have inevitably perished. It was a technological leap as fundamentally vital as the control of fire or the invention of stone tools. It showcased incredible skill and foresight. It demonstrated a deep practical understanding of material science. It transformed vulnerable early humans into incredibly resilient cold weather survivors. Masters of their icy domain, securing enough food in the unforgiving ice age was a daily, relentless struggle. The barren, frozen landscapes offered few easy meals. Winters stretched long and merciless, yet our ancestors not only survived, but thrived by meeting this profound challenge head-on. They evolved into master hunters and ingenious gatherers. Their strategies were both diverse and astonishingly effective. One remarkable technique was persistence hunting. Humans, with their unique endurance and efficient cooling systems, could outrun many animals over vast distances. They would meticulously track a large animal, perhaps a deer, a wild horse, or even a bison. They would follow it relentlessly for hours, sometimes even days. They would wear the animal down, pushing it until it finally collapsed from sheer exhaustion. This method required incredible stamina. It demanded exceptional tracking skills. It also showcased an intimate knowledge of animal behavior. Group hunting was another common and highly effective strategy. Entire communities or large hunting parties worked together. They coordinated their efforts to drive large herds of animals. They often herded them into natural traps. These could be steep ravines, narrow canyons, or dead-end valleys. They expertly used fire to stampede panicked animals. They also constructed elaborate corrals or cleverly concealed pitfalls. These were dangerous, high-stakes endeavors. They required precise communication and flawless coordination. Successful hunts yielded massive quantities of meat. But meat spoils quickly in any climate, even a cold one. So, effective food preservation became absolutely vital. They dried strips of meat in the sun or over slow-burning fires. This created nutrient-dense jerky, perfect for storage. They smoked meat, a technique still used today. They froze surplus meat in natural cold storage pits. These were dug into the frozen earth or cached under piles of rocks. Animal fat was highly prized. It provided essential concentrated calories. It was carefully rendered, stored, and consumed. Every single part of the animal was meticulously utilized. Bones were fashioned into tools. Sinews were processed into strong thread. Hides became clothing and shelter. Their hunting toolkit was incredibly sophisticated for its time. Early spears were simple sharpened wooden sticks, but they quickly evolved. Meticulously flaked stone points were securely hafted onto wooden shafts. These points created razor-sharp edges. The atlatl, or spear thrower, was a revolutionary game-changer. This simple yet brilliant device extended the hunter's arm, significantly increasing spear velocity. It also drastically improved accuracy. This innovation allowed hunters to strike powerful blows from a much safer distance. Beyond hunting, they expertly gathered what they could. Wild roots, tubers, seasonal berries, and nuts provided crucial supplements. Even in colder climates, some resilient plants offered vital nourishment. They possessed an incredibly intimate understanding of their local environment. They knew precisely which plants were edible. They knew exactly where and when to find them. This comprehensive, adaptive approach to food acquisition not only kept them alive but allowed their populations to grow. It fueled their incredible survival and cultural development. Fire was not merely a convenience during the Ice Age. It was an absolute lifeline. It represented the very heart of human survival in those frozen lands. Its applications were incredibly diverse and profoundly impactful. Firstly, warmth was paramount. A roaring fire kept the bitter, penetrating cold at bay. It made bleak cave dwellings truly habitable. It transformed flimsy temporary shelters into sanctuaries. Secondly, cooking was revolutionary. Cooking meat made it significantly easier to digest. It broke down tough fibers. It eliminated harmful bacteria and parasites. This process dramatically increased nutrient absorption. This improved nutrition was absolutely crucial for supporting larger, more complex brains. Thirdly, fire provided vital light. It pushed back the suffocating darkness of long winter nights. It illuminated the interiors of shelters. This allowed for extended evening activities. People could craft intricate tools. They could prepare food more safely. They could gather to share stories and knowledge. Fourthly, fire offered essential protection. Dangerous predators, such as wolves and formidable big cats, inherently feared fire. A continuously burning hearth created a vital perimeter of safety around human settlements. Fifth, fire was indispensable for tool making. It could harden wooden spear tips, making them more durable. It allowed for the controlled heat treatment of flint. This made the flint much easier to flake. It facilitated the creation of sharper, more efficient cutting edges. Starting a fire in such conditions was no easy feat. It required considerable skill, patience, and constant practice. Various methods were employed. Friction methods included the bow drill, which involved rapidly spinning a stick against a wooden base. The hand drill used similar principles. Percussion methods involved striking flint against iron pyrite. This produced crucial sparks. These sparks were then carefully caught on highly flammable tinder. Dry moss, specific types of fungus, or finely shredded bark served as ideal tinder. Once successfully lit, fire was considered precious. It was meticulously maintained. Fires were often kept burning continuously, sometimes for months. This saved the arduous, risky task of starting a new one. Fuel gathering was therefore a constant, demanding chore. It required relentless teamwork. It demanded foresight. Fire also served a profound social function. It became the central focal point of every community. Families gathered around its comforting glow. Stories were told. Important knowledge was shared. It solidified social bonds and fostered a sense of unity. Fire was far more than just a tool. It was a potent symbol of human mastery over the environment. It enabled physical survival. It fostered the development of culture. It ultimately defined humanity in the vast, frozen wastes of the Ice Age. Survival in the harsh Ice Age was never, ever a solitary endeavor. It was, at its very core, a collective achievement. Exceptionally strong social bonds were absolutely paramount. Cooperation was essential for virtually every aspect of life. Large-scale group hunts, for instance, demanded intricate coordination. Constructing robust mammoth bone huts required the efforts of many hands. Raising children in such a relentlessly harsh environment demanded constant community support and shared responsibility. Communication became incredibly sophisticated over time. The development of complex language skills allowed for nuanced planning. It enabled detailed instructions to be conveyed. It facilitated the efficient sharing of vital information among groups. Knowledge transfer was a fundamental cornerstone of their remarkable success. Elders held immense value. They meticulously passed down generations of accumulated wisdom. They taught advanced hunting techniques. They shared intricate plant knowledge. They instructed on the precise art of tool making. This vast, accumulated knowledge was invaluable. It ensured the continuous survival and thriving of future generations. But our ancestors accomplished far more than mere physical survival. They thrived in a much deeper, more profound sense. They engaged extensively in symbolic thought. This represents a truly surprising and significant turning point in human consciousness. They created breathtaking art. Magnificent cave paintings adorn the walls of caverns across Europe and beyond. These vibrant depictions of animals, often rendered with incredible realism and movement, tell ancient stories. Intricate hunting scenes are beautifully illustrated. Mysterious handprints mark their powerful presence. Figurines, exquisitely carved from bone or ivory, showcase a rich artistic expression. These include the famous Venus figurines, often interpreted as symbols of fertility or beauty. They crafted personal adornments, beads made from shells or animal teeth, pendants fashioned from bone or stone. These were not purely functional items. They served vital social or spiritual purposes. They signaled status within the group. They expressed individual or group identity. They demonstrated a powerful connection to something profound, far beyond mere sustenance. They practiced elaborate burials. They carefully interred their dead with grave goods. This indicates deep respect for the deceased. It suggests a burgeoning belief system. It speaks powerfully of grief, remembrance, and perhaps even an afterlife. These profound acts demonstrate advanced abstract thought. They reveal an astonishing capacity for complex culture. They prove the existence of a rich, intricate inner life. Our Ice Age ancestors were not simply primal beings driven by instinct. They were profound thinkers. They were visionary artists. They were brilliant social innovators. They meticulously laid the foundational groundwork for all future human development and civilization. The compelling story of Ice Age humans is one of unparalleled resilience. It stands as an enduring testament to our species' ultimate, incredible adaptability. They confronted an environment seemingly designed to utterly break them, yet they not only survived, but emerged stronger, smarter, and more unified. They meticulously mastered the intense cold. They ingeniously conquered the persistent challenge of food scarcity. They built complex, cooperative societies that fostered mutual support. They ignited the vibrant spark of culture and creativity. Their numerous innovations were never accidental occurrences. They were the direct result of keen, sustained observation. They stemmed from relentless, often dangerous experimentation. They arose from the crucial process of shared learning and collective wisdom, from the ingenious structural design of mammoth bone dwellings to the intricate life-saving tailoring of fur clothing, from the revolutionary invention of the atlatl, which transformed hunting, to the sophisticated social structures that ensured essential cooperation. Every single strategy was a masterpiece of creative problem-solving. Every new technology represented a monumental step towards human dominance over nature. They were not just mere survivors clinging to existence. They were bold pioneers, venturing into unknown territories. They were brilliant engineers, designing solutions to seemingly impossible problems. They were visionary artists, capturing the beauty and terror of their world. They were the true architects of our future. Their profound legacy permeates our very existence. The innate human ability to innovate, our deep capacity for empathy and cooperation, the unyielding drive to explore and understand. These fundamental traits were meticulously forged in the brutal yet transformative fires of the Ice Age. They serve as a powerful reminder of what humans are truly capable of achieving. They show us how much we profoundly owe to these extraordinary ancestors. They transformed themselves. They dramatically transformed their world. They meticulously set the grand stage for all subsequent human civilization. What forgotten lessons from their extraordinary journey could still profoundly guide us today in our own complex, ever-changing world?